Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the End in Mind podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin, and I'm here with Jessica today. Thanks so much for being with us. Jessica, how are you?
Hi, Caitlin. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yay. I'm so excited for our conversation. Can you start off by telling our listeners a little bit more about yourself, how you got into this line of work, and just give us your background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the president of New Source. We are a micro wholesale sourcing company that empowers resellers and resale store owners by providing them with a curated inventory. A lot of our, like running a resale business is very challenging. And so if we can take off, something from one of these store owners' plates, that's what we're here to do. How did I get started? My first job out of grad school was working for a nonprofit where my job was to like monetize the clothing that got donated that we couldn't use. And through that, I really learned that I liked working with that underdog product. And I was just really enamored that you could make money off of someone's trash and like how what is unusable to you might still be valuable to someone else. And I just kind of was very into that whole circular concept. So that's how I got into it.
So inspiring. I'm sure you heard I got started in nonprofits as well. So we have like a similar background. And I love the same concept of turning trash into money. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how you were able to take some of
Yeah.
their
We
trash?
have we have this phrase that we use internally, and it's like someone's ick is another person's yum. And it's really corny, but it's so true. And your question was how I got started, or
Just a
sorry.
little bit more like how does the trash, how do you, I guess, market and present someone else's trash, right, to that person that is their yum, I
Right,
love
right,
that
right. Yeah,
saying.
it's good. But so we built a technology system where every item that we touch, we enter the attribution of like the brand, condition, and gender of that piece. So every time we're sorting, let's say we come across over the course of the day 1,000 units of free people just through the assorted trash bags that we get in from our suppliers. Then I can go to my customer and say, hey, is free people trending in your store? We can offer you 1,000 units of free people. And because our sort is done by brand, it really helps us stay up with what the trends are. So now like cottage core and Y2K kind of yields a certain brand family. Like we're finding it in Zara and H&M. So I can go to my tech and be like, all the Y2K that comes in from Zara and H&M goes into a certain bucket. So it's really powerful stuff.
Wow, that's so unique. Yeah, I love that you all can like almost see the trend before it's coming, before the consumer even really knows, and is maybe aware of what they want. I feel
Yeah.
so valuable.
And a lot of these like eBay sellers particularly are very niche based, and we'll have people that just specifically request, I don't know, American Eagle denim shorts with rips in the pocket, like just so specific to their niche, and we're able to sort for that. So it's really cool.
Wow, that's so interesting. So can you tell us like how you get the bags? Are you allowed to disclose that type of information?
Yeah,
And how do you all sort it?
for
What does
sure.
the process look like?
Yeah. We say our only competitor is the trash, so I'm happy to share. We purchase excess inventory from, high-end resale, consignment, and thrift shops across the US, and we also buy direct from brands. So we work with, big brands that we're under NDA with that I can't really disclose, but we handle their damages and returns. So it's interesting because what a thrift store, not thrift, but like what a resale store is passing on in Manhattan might be exactly what I have a store in the Midwest that they want. So just geographically, you see how different trends go through the US. And it's really kind of like a matching program, essentially.
Yeah.
And I feel like, just being able to keep all that in circulation, like consumers, we overproduce and we overconsume, and then we wear something a few times and a lot of people just throw away their clothes. So having this to just be a vehicle to keep things in circulation is great.
Yeah, it's so inspiring to take again someone's like less wanted needs and repurpose it versus it landing in the landfill or like, those videos where it's showing all these clothes on the beaches of these
Yeah.
beautiful places. It's such a shame. And I honestly feel like I actually heard this trend on Love Island last night and they were like they were
They
like
did?
Yes, it's the one. I love the reunion. This one was actually like their post show with the last whole crew. And one of the guys was like, fast fashion is so out. Like rewear the shirt. It's like what he was saying to his friend. And I think that that's true. Would you say that that's also a trend that you're seeing?
Um, yes and no. I think you'd be surprised. Like Shein is a huge corporation because we as consumers keep them, afloat because it's quick fashion. Like they're mass producing Kim Kardashian's dress from the Grammys within 18 hours of her wearing it. And there is an impulsivity to like being able to grab onto those trends. Unfortunately, the fast fashion garments, they're only made to be worn a couple times. Like they're not going to last through the wash 10, 15 times. So we're always kind of encouraging people to go for quality over trend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think fast fashion, it'll probably always have a place, but it's such a great education piece to just use that as a benchmark of, I don't know, what other things that we could be doing to like purposely purchase more consciously.
Yeah, yeah. I actually worked with a designer. She was like a personal stylist when I first started my business, which I desperately needed because I was still wearing like my crew necks from college to like
Mhm.
things, which honestly I sometimes still do on the podcast. Like sometimes that's the vibe. But I shouldn't have been wearing them to like client events. So she totally helped me. And that was her perception as well, investing in really high end pieces. I still have all of them. I have a networking event later today. I'll wear them there, what's your perception? Like, when do you feel like, is it an age gap with some of this buying decisions or investing in pieces? Because I know when I was younger, I just didn't really see the issue with it. And now as I've gotten older, like I said, I definitely would rather invest in a piece that's going to like last.
Yeah. I wonder, I mean, it probably is generational. If you think about like when we were teens, what did we have access to? It was all like high fast fashion, mass produced stuff. So
Right.
maybe as people expand in their career and get more like financially independent, that makes sense. But what I love about the secondhand industry is that you can invest in a high-end piece at a fraction of the cost. So it's a great entry point for a lot of consumers to learn. They're going to pick up an Everlane cashmere sweater at a thrift store that one, maybe they didn't know about, and two, perhaps can't really afford, at full cost. And now you have a loyal Everlane consumer, and their entry point was through a thrift store.
Oh,
I find that all that fascinating.
yeah, that's really interesting. Almost like they're building a whole new second business through,
Yeah.
second hand items, I guess. Would you say?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting to see, when certain brands kind of like come up to speed with this. And we talk to brands where they're like, no, absolutely not. We don't want any of our inventory on the resale market. I'm like, well, here's the thing. It's already happening. So like you can get behind it and put your stamp of approval on it, or people like it's just the train has left the station. So get with it or don't.
Yeah, it is kind of like such a I can see where that would be a difficult sell to someone that is so narrow-minded, and the fact of I only want the items in our store or the way we present them. But then they are missing out on a whole other side of consumers that believe in repurposing items too.
Right. Yeah. And I think that is generational too. I think like the Gen Z and the millennials really spearheaded the resale industry. But I went for a walk one day with someone kind of in my industry. She was like much higher up and a little bit older than me. And she was like, oh my gosh, I would never wear someone else's clothing. And I was like, wow, is that really where we still are? She was a boomer. So I don't know. A lot of education, I think, to help get people up to speed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I would like never think that someone would say that
To
nowadays.
me, like also
Yeah.
to me, knowing what I do for a living. So yeah.
That's so crazy. So tell us a little bit more about how you made the relationships that you were able to make with your company, if you're allowed to. Like I know certain areas you can't get too specific on, but a lot of our listeners are trying to figure out how to build relationships to sustain a business long term, which does look a lot different, I think, than what it looked like when I first got into business. So I'm just curious to hear more about that side of your journey.
Yeah. So when I had my son in 2016 and told myself I never wanted to work for someone ever again. And so I started my own consulting business. And at that point, I went back to all of the people I'd worked for in the past who happened to always be owners and founders of consignment and thrift stores. So I built this little consulting conglomerate around like small businesses that needed help. What I found is that they all needed help in the same thing. It was like inventory management, sell through, social media, and pricing. And so those are the services that I offered. And so I really just feel like you have nothing if you don't have relationships. And so I've always valued relationship building and just I have so many customers that have been with me since 2016. My team has been with me since 2016, and our suppliers are some of them are still the same that they've been for 10 years now. So the proof is really there that if you just nurture the relationship, like the business comes with it. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great to hear. I was actually just working with a one-on-one client and we were talking about this, like the struggle between lead generation and really working with the current clients that are right in front of you. And I don't know about you, but there's definitely phases of my life where I'm like, I'm at full capacity, with the company. Like, there's no way I should be lead genning right now because I need to work on this client, like this strategy. Once that's up and running, then I'm good to go. Was that your perception as well? Do you have any tips maybe for, our listeners that are still finding their footing with that side of things?
Yeah, this might be a broader answer to your question, but one thing I definitely learned early on is that you always have to continue replacing yourself and hiring people that are smarter than you. So like the business, if you're at the top, the business is only ever going to be as good as you are unless you bring in other minds. So whenever your listener's small business is ready to scale that first employee, I think that's a huge first step to kind of help manage bandwidth and like what you're talking about.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Can you tell us a little bit more about when you decided to build your team? Like, I know for myself, I took the leap probably a little bit earlier than most people would have expected me to, but I knew like I'm horrible at spelling and like I'm in the world of spelling. So I knew I had to outsource it quickly, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely identifying what your strengths are and hiring out your weaknesses, whether it's outsourced or within your team, I think is super important. But my team was so a bunch of, I guess this was like 2009, 2010. I was working at Plato's Closet and I was the manager of the one in Paoli. And some of those girls that worked with me then are still on my team now. And I just kind of like found these, resale minded, driven, gritty, kind of hustle culture, like women that I worked with along the way in different careers and different jobs. And I kind of just pulled from that. So same thing, like relationship building is how I built the team. And then always being conscious too that like you want to bring in kind of new blood and just learn as much as you can from other people.
I love that Plato's Closet. I used to go there
Yeah,
all the
yeah, it's a good
time.
one. Yeah.
The best one in the area, I think. Maybe you're biased too, but I'm definitely biased to that shop. That's like where I found all my clothes growing
Oh
up.
yeah, I mean it's right smack in the middle of the main line. So this stuff is amazing. And when you think about the pieces that you find on those racks, like that is what someone else discarded, right? They're getting paid 33% of the selling price, but it's just crazy.
So insane. Like
Yeah.
sometimes when I go, I always follow all the thrifters on like Instagram and stuff. I'm sure you do too. And they'll
Mhm.
be like, why? Like, who threw this away? And I'm always so shocked when I go in there, the items that happen to be discarded. And then sometimes I think to myself, like, I have also donated or like sold stuff to Plato's Closet, that's really nice, but like maybe I just don't love anymore.
Yeah, yeah. My best find I ever found on the Plato's, it was the Plato's Closet in Exton, and it was a pair of Christian Louboutins. And I'm like trying to figure out how did that make it here? And I think it was like $10 or something. And I was like, the person that was at the counter that bought those in probably didn't just turn the shoe over to see that they were Louboutins. Because yeah, I think I got them for $10 and then I had a coupon. So
Amazing.
yeah.
That's actually right where I live for our listeners, where Jessica and I are local to each other. So we know the same stores and we live in the same area. I live in Downingtown. So I'm always at the Exton Plato's Closet. That's like where I sell all of our items. My fiance has really great clothes too. So I sell his stuff there, when he's done with them. Um,
Yeah.
what a great story. Yeah. Do you have any other like really cool thrift finds that are like that that you've found over the years?
When I was first getting into the business and I was just figuring out how to like monetize my skill set, I ended up buying 3,000 fur coats from an estate woman, like went down to her basement. She had them all on racks and I was like, okay, I'll take them. Like I have to start somewhere. So why not just start with this one category? I can become an expert in this thing and figure out how to sell them. I think it took me like 10 to 12 months to sell through all of them, but my whole house, like every closet, every room had furs in them. And I was having, people over in my neighborhood and selling them online. And so that was a fun story.
That's so fun. Yeah, I want our listeners to hear more about like the niches that you've developed over the years because now it feels like you really have you've done it all, like when it comes to resale. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course. But was there like stepping stones to learning about each type of article of clothing or brands that you've worked with over the years?
Yeah, I've really relied on my team to become experts in different niches. You can't boil the ocean, which it's so hard. Like I'm definitely ADD, so I think I can take on everything, but just really becoming focused and becoming an expert in that one thing. And once you've achieved that, then go on to the next. It's hard when you're like big picture to like force yourself to think that way, but I have found for us, that's been a big key in how we've been able to scale. So our customers know they can come to us for curated lots and they can count on the fact that it's going to be right. If we advertise something as I don't know, I don't know what the niche would be, but like design denim that's in right now, they're going to get exactly that. So we've had to become experts in product curation, sorting, marketing, client development, warehouse operations, and like you don't know any of this until you're in it. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I can totally see that. And like with the owners of the stores that you work with, I'm sure, especially when it comes to social media, just like knowing that this is my world, they all don't really. I remember a few thrift stores that I've gone to where I'm like, if they would have just posted this, like so many girls would have
Oh,
ran,
yeah.
right? So,
There's a conference I just spoke at. It's called NARTS. It's the worst name in America for a conference, but it's National Association of Resale Thrift Stores. And I went in speaking about AI and live selling and how to, optimize your sales channels. And what I quickly realized is that some of the people I was speaking to, they're still handwriting their price tags.
wow.
Five store chain, they're still handwriting their price tags and like very successful. And what I have found is that a lot of these thrift store owners, they're kind of in like third generation of their career. So maybe they were former lawyers, teachers, ran a business in a different industry. So some of those skill sets that we would just naturally think you have to have, um, they don't, but they're very successful in like acquiring amazing inventory and selling it. It's just there's so much low-hanging fruit, I think, with some of these small business owners to really grab onto.
Yeah, yeah, and just learn and like make their lives easier. I feel
Yeah,
so bad for them. Like handwriting would take so long. And that's
yeah.
probably just one thing,
One thing.
you could probably teach them on. When it comes to AI, do you mind sharing with us a little bit more about what you shared at the conference and what you were able to give, owners and on any aspect, but especially in your niche?
Yeah, I was really targeting just talking about live selling and how to utilize AI to assist with some of like the manual labor that we would have been doing a few years ago. And talking about, like so the number one live selling app right now is Whatnot and TikTok Shop, if anyone is live selling. And I was talking about how like I could sit here and teach you exactly how to use Whatnot, but I guarantee you in a year there will be something else. So instead, if you kind of reverse engineer it and teach yourself just how to get accustomed to AI and machine learning and using ChatGPT, you'll be prepared for when the next thing comes down the pike. In our business, we are like mandating that everyone on the team, everyone in the company, has an AI companion to help do their job because it can really eliminate some of the back and forth. I have an AI, it's called Fixer, and it manages my email, and it's amazing. I couldn't live without it.
Oh my gosh, I've never even heard of that. I
Oh
love.
yeah, so it drafts responses to your email, but it like machine learns. So it has learned that when certain names come up in an email, it knows what context that name is attached to. And it's getting really smart. I've used it for 2 months and I'm really impressed. I don't
That.
work for them. This is not a paid ad, but yeah.
It should be because that just sold me. I'm like, I'm buying that,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
cheap.
Yeah.
It's cheap too. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I always use ChatGPT. My team as well. I like train them on it. I'm like, if we're not using this, the company will never grow.
yeah. And it's not just like
That's-
using chat to like rewrite an email. I think too, it's like you're only as good as your prompts are. And I'm learning every day. We have a CMO on my team who's like light years ahead of all of us when it comes to AI. And he's teaching us really how to like utilize it better than just kind of that first level and, taking it deeper. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like I have little chat GPT, like different characters that I'll create for like different clients. So then they know exactly what I'm referencing. Or you can even just start the prompt with like, remember when I asked about this business, and then it remembers everything. And then you can type in your question. It's so nice. It's such a
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. The prompt that we utilize a lot is like, we'll tell chat, like, you are in the top 0.01% expert in XYZ, and then answer my question. So, like, you're trying to pull the highest level knowledge that you can.
That's really interesting. What a great tip. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any other like tips for our listeners as they're continuing to develop or anything else that you want to share with us before you tell us how we can stay in touch with you?
Yeah, I guess if I were to say one tip, I've always just strongly invested into executive coaching. So for a lot of small business owners, although it might be a little bit of a leap, like investing in your own personal development, professional development, I would not be like where I am without having a coach. So I always like to plug that at the end.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you said that. I feel the same way. I share that on the podcast all the time. I'm like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
Starting
yeah.
a business is a challenge. Like, you need someone. Also, another coach, I feel like this might resonate with you. I said this to my client yesterday as well. She was like, your brain literally doesn't know that it's possible to do something or like achieve a certain amount of money unless you surround yourself with women or people that are doing it. And that totally like changed my life as
So
well.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
a good one to take with you for sure.
yay. Well, thank you so much. Can you tell us how we can stay in touch with you, follow you, get to know all of your other tips, where you're speaking? Some of our listeners may also want to get into your niche. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh yeah, my gosh, I would love to talk to anyone that's interested. But you can follow me on Instagram. My personal is the Fashion Disruptor. My business account is New Source. I think it's the New Source, but you can just type in New Source. It's nu.source. And that's a good place to start.
Yay. Thank you so much. And for our multitasking listeners, we'll have all the links linked below or send me a DM and I'll directly connect you with Jessica. Thanks so much for being here. This was so great.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.